And thanks very much indeed for that live update there from Tel Aviv. Well, for more on this, I'm joined live by James Petras. He's a professor of sociology at Binghamton University in New York. And I hope you can hear me there, James. There you are. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Well, by the sounds of things, it does look as if all-out war is on the cards. Why is this happening now?
Well, several reasons. One is the supporters of Palestine are in very diminished situation. The latest developments point to a major attempt to overthrow the government in Syria through a combined Gulf and Western European and Turkish offensive. Iran is effectively neutralized. And the Israelis have been gobbling up territory in the West Bank, and now you have the missile attacks on Gaza. Israel feels it has a free hand today. It's using bulldozers in the West Bank and missiles in Gaza to effectively dispossess what remains of the Batustan colonies in among the Palestinians. So I think the Netanyahu regime sees the Western offensive against Palestinian supporters in the region as the green light to move full scale toward the annexation of the West Bank and the demolition of what exists in Gaza.
Can we talk about that Iranian connection? You mentioned Iran a little earlier. Of course, Hamas is funded by Iran. Israel, of course, a lot of rhetoric recently saying it could well carry out strikes against Tehran. Is this perhaps a precursor, some sort of initiative maybe to temper the fact that Hamas could respond if Israel does indeed attack Iran?
Well, I think one shouldn't overestimate the capacity of Hamas. It has very marginal weapons. I don't think any of its recent shootings across the border has done any damage to Israel. A soldier wounded here, a settler wounded there, but I think Israel is really looking first and foremost to take over the whole of what remains of Palestine. And
so what are the implications, James? What would happen then with Palestinians' neighbours, the Palestine neighbours? What sort of reaction will we get now from that? What are the implications if Israel did indeed go ahead with this plan?
Well, I don't think I think you would get pro forma condemnations, but the Arab League now is posed to attack Syria. I think the tremendous decline in nationalism among the Arab countries is clearly evident now. The Gulf states seem to have taken the leadership from any other Arab source. Morsi is on a course of collaboration with the U.S. and has agreed to the Israeli treaty and controlling the border to Gaza. So I don't see the Arab Spring or so-called Spring in any way form opposing Israel's annexation of Palestine. And I think this is foreknowledge by Netanyahu, and that's why he's sending the bulldozers in every single day. Scores of acres, hundreds of acres a month are being taken over by Israel. It's the end of any part of a two-state solution.
So what about the U.S.'s reaction? There you are in New York. Any coincidence by the fact that Obama's just been re-elected?
Well, Obama's been re-elected, but his bonds to Israel, his dependence on the Zionist power groups in the United States continues. Obama is not going to lift a finger to oppose Israel's annexation of Palestine. He'll make some symbolic gestures and criticisms.
But will Netanyahu get a lot of support? I mean, this man apparently was responsible for financing, directing military operations against Israeli citizens. Netanyahu has said that he has a duty to defend his people. So is it an overreaction, what Israel has done, or is it justified?
Well, I think the Israelis have been engaging in provocations against the Gaza Strip for a long time, and the Western media continue to present this as some kind of Gaza offensive. But if you look at the casualties and destruction, there's a tremendous asymmetry here. You have hundreds of buildings in Gaza destroyed. You have scores of Palestinians wounded and dead, and you have a stray Israeli dead. It's clearly Israeli takeover. It's
okay, terrible situation there, but of course looking at the region as a whole, the instability there, can it really afford now what's happening in Israel to happen? I mean, can things get any worse now? What are the implications? All-out war, there's talk of that with Israel and the Palestinians. And of course what's going on with the tensions between Tehran and also, of course, all the other problems in Syria. I mean, is this a serious turn of events now for the Middle East?
Well, it is serious because any time you're talking about displacing and dispossessing 4 million people, but this notion of an all-out war is a misnomer. What we're looking at is an all-out offensive, a Nazi blitzkrieg kind of assault on Gaza.
Okay, James, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. James Petras, Professor of Sociology at Binghamton University in New York. This is RT.